Hi, today I want to talk about awakening. For people who are not familiar with this idea, it might sound like something they don't really understand or something that doesn't really exist. It might sound vague, mystical, or even like BS, like people just talking about their personal beliefs or their belief in gods. In everyday life and common understanding, awakening is pretty niche. Depending on who you ask, it can also sound like a cliche. Psychology doesn't treat awakening as a formal diagnosis. You don't go to a psychologist and get diagnosed with awakening. But people do report experiences like this, experiences where the sense of self changes, their perception of reality changes, or the whole understanding of life suddenly breaks open. So even if we don't agree on what awakening really is, the experience itself is something people have reported across different cultures, religions, and personal crises. And since you are watching this, I assume you are interested in this topic. So let us step into the shoes of people who experience this phenomenon. Awakening or enlightenment in my native language, Vietnamese, is giác ngộ. It's a Sino-Vietnamese word and is a word that appears a lot in Buddhism. And I want to talk about the word ngộ. Ngộ can sometimes point to enlightenment itself, to this moment of realizing something. But in everyday language, it can also mean something strange, silly, goofy, cute, or interesting. And I think enlightenment itself carries all of those traits. Because sometimes when you look back at your old self, you don't just think, oh, I was wrong. You also see something almost funny about it. You see how serious you were. You see how deeply you believed in one version of reality, as if it were the only possible version. Maybe you judged people in ways they didn't deserve to be judged, and then you acted based on those judgments. Maybe you were anxious, insecure, and full of self rejection. You told yourself, I'm not attractive, I'm not smart, I'm not built for this, I'm not the kind of person who can do that. But later, you realize maybe that wasn't reality. Maybe that was just your own projection, your own perception, your own dream, your own private interpretation of life. Other people may notice your appearance, they may notice your weaknesses, but they can also see your strengths, things you may have missed. Meanwhile, you were trapped in one narrow image of yourself, and that image felt like reality. But it was only one possibility among billions of others. So when a person awakens, there is feeling of, I see it now, a kind of eureka moment. I wasn't completely right. I was living inside my head. If I had seen things differently, I might have acted another way. My life could very well have taken another path. This kind of aha moment happens to everyone. We all realize we were wrong about things. We all look back and think, well, I got that wrong. People absolutely change their behavior throughout their lives. The difference between awakening and just a normal tweak in the way you behave is intensity. It reminds me of a movie called Snake Eyes. It's about a ninja who swore never to speak again until he could avenge his master. That might sound extreme, but that is the kind of intensity I'm talking about. An idea can enter your mind, and if you believe in it deeply enough, it doesn't stay as just an idea. It becomes discipline, it becomes identity, it becomes the way you act, it becomes the way you talk, the way you love, the way you sit next to people, and the way you separate yourself from life. This is where you can realize how dangerous an idea can be. Most people live in peace, but people also go to war, and wars begin as ideas, ideas of greed, ideas of power, or even the idea of bringing material wealth to the people they like, the people they love, or the people they identify with. And on a smaller scale, when a brawl happens, people don't really gain much just by releasing their emotions What they are really doing is protecting an image of themselves, a self-image they believe in so completely that when someone challenges it, they feel offended. Everything starts as an idea, something constructed in your mind. So now, say you have observed how an idea forms in your mind. What do you do next? You would want to change how you interact with people. You would try to be present. You think, well, for me, this event of realization is meaningful, but it isn't meaningful all the time, and it isn't meaningful to everyone. It helps you stabilize yourself. It helps you navigate this world. It doesn't help others immediately. This is when you start noticing the patterns in your behavior, both in the past and now. You gradually change how you interact with people. Bit by bit, you notice the contradictions between your intuition and what your reasoning tells you to do. It's not a magical process. You still have to think and make judgments, and you still know that your judgments are not perfect, just like before awakening. Just like the Zen saying, before awakening, chop wood, carry water. After awakening, chop wood, carry water. It sounds like nothing really meaningful has happened, yet something inside you has changed. There's also one important teaching in Buddhism. There's no ignorance and no end to ignorance. You weren't ignorant yesterday, and you are none the wiser today. You just move from one stage to another. It's like how people do their laundry regularly, while you just let it pile up and do it when the pile is full. And every difference is a trade-off. The differences between you and other people simply mean that each person has certain advantages and disadvantages. It's like you have entered a new game, a game about control, control of your thoughts and emotions, and as always, a game of uncertainty and novelty of life. Thank you for watching. That is for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and goodbye.